Everybody loses once in a while, but in sports, the loss hits hard because of the work you put in. The experience of defeat, or more particularly, the manner in which a leader reacts to it, is an essential part of what makes a winner. Quoted by Sir Alex Ferguson in his book, he's a serial winner. This shows that how important it is to learn from your defeats. But the question is, how do you really do it? How do you learn from a setback? How do you learn from a failure? Let's talk about it. To understand how to actually come back from defeats or failures, we need to understand what actually happens to our brain during these things. When we are winning, the dopamine and the testosterone chemicals in our brain increase, which gives us heightened sense of happiness, heightened sense of joy, heightened sense of enthusiasm. But when we lose, the dopamine decreases and the cortisol increases. Cortisol is the stress hormone of the body. When the cortisol rises, it turns into something called the brain fog. Over a period of time, when you incur many losses, the cortisol spikes are so high that your brain can't think properly. Chronic losses shrink the hippocampus, the key for memory and learning, and they disrupt the prefrontal cortex, which is essential in decision making. That is why you need to get out of that failure slump, that defeat slump. 35% of athletes reported depression due to amplified defeats. Sometimes social defeats in front of a crowd during a match, it can feel like physical pain because the receptors in our brain think that we have incurred some physical pain. Now on to how to actually overcome your losses and your defeats. I have made out a 3 different archetypes framework because not every athlete is the same. They have different needs, they have different wants, they have to think about themselves differently, they have to process things differently, emotions are different. It is not a standardized process. So I have made it into 3 frameworks. Let's discuss. Number 1, the goldfish method. In a famous web series, Ted Lasso, the coach tells his players to be a goldfish. What do you mean by that? The goldfish, he says, has a 5-second memory. But it is a comedic relief in the series, but you actually can learn from it. Some people benefit from forgetting about the loss, forgetting about the night, and just moving on to the next thing, partying or cycling or whatever they do to cope, right? And they can enhance their performance if they do it right. They can forget about the loss, come the next day, maybe go out for a drink or go out with their friends to play or watch a movie or something like that. And they can actually settle their dopamine levels back to normal or their cortisol levels back to normal after a loss, so they can go ahead and perform better next time. This is a way that some people do it. I personally don't use it, but some people benefit from it. Number 2, the Spartan method. The Spartans were all about passion, rigorous training, not stopping ever. They were like a momentum train. And you can get on this momentum train because when you're in a tournament, when you're in a stage of matches, you actually get a momentum of physical training, a momentum of showing up every day, every hour. So you can take this after the loss. The next day, you can do your same routine. You don't break your routine. Before the match, you had a routine. You practiced every day, maybe 2 times a day, maybe 1 time a day, and you stick to it after the loss. Because that tells your brain that the loss does not matter, that the loss has not changed who you are. The loss has not changed your beliefs, your talent. It hasn't made you worse. It's just that sometimes in sports, you can work the most hours you can. Like maybe you're working, practicing 18 hours a day, every single time, even if it's raining, sunny, anything. But you can still lose because at the end of the day, it's a match where luck has a aspect to it, where the crowd, the mental pressure has an aspect to it. So maybe your training doesn't translate to the match. In this method, you can just leave the loss outside of your mind and get back to your training the next day. Number 3, the diamond archetype. And personally, I fall under this category. I use this every time to cope for a loss. I have had maybe more losses than anybody watching this video. I have to cope through them, and I use this method. The diamonds are made under pressure. When you make pressure to yourself, when you make pressure to your mind that you have to perform better if the team has to win, that is an individualistic mindset. You think that you were the problem, or that you could have done well, maybe if you had made that pass, or maybe if you had made that shot, or if you had maybe been selfless or maybe a bit more selfish at the situation, the outcome would have been different. But this only works to people who are strong-minded, who can take criticism from themselves, who can actually work on themselves under the pressure. Most people cannot. Under the pressure, most people overthink, they crumble. But this is an archetype that works for the best of the best mindsets, who think about what they do, who take criticism, who understand their mistakes, who know that they can be wrong, that maybe they could do something which would have led to a different outcome.